Hello.
Hello, Tiffany. It's great to be speaking with you.
Hi, how are you?
I'm excellent. Thanks a lot for taking the time out today.
No worries.
I'll introduce you to my co-host, Ton.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
We are glad to have you on the line. If you're ready to go, we'll get started.
Sure, thank you.
Well, I guess tell us first about your new album. What can we expect?
Oh, goodness. I'm really excited about this new album. I co-produced it, wrote along the songs, and it's just, an album that I think really shows off me as a vocalist. I mean, I have so many shows that I travel and tour, and people go, I didn't know you could sing like that. So this one really kind of celebrates that. It's not all ballads, but there are those love songs that I love to sing. I've always been a ballad person from Could Have Been, All This Time, Love Is Blind. So this really kind of just shows that showcase about me.
Yeah, we know you've definitely come a long way since your early albums, writing all your material and, as you mentioned, touring a lot. So it's awesome that you're in a place that you're happy with.
Oh, yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be out on the road. Starts off Nashville, 24th. So I'm really excited. And I love performing live. That's my whole thing. The studio is fun. It gives me a chance to create, but there's nothing like hitting the stage live.
So talk to us about that. What's the Tiffany show like these days? Do you have a full band?
Well, this one, actually, we're doing smaller theaters. So I do have a full band, and we've been doing a lot of the retro festivals. We just spent 6 weeks in England. That was a blast. So we do a lot of different festivals. But on this tour, Million Miles, we're actually going to be doing more of an acoustic dynamic evening. So a little bit of percussion, lots of guitars, piano, and lots of vocals. I mean, my background singer, Jennifer Friend, is amazing. She can sing her face off. So, I really want to feature her on some of the songs because I loved her voice from the moment I heard it. She's been with me for about 5 years now, and I truly enjoy singing with her.
Yeah, we saw that you're also going to be part of the 80s cruise that's coming up next year. That sounds awesome. It sounds ridiculous at the same time. And have you ever been part of something like that before?
Well, I did the first 80s cruise, which was last year, and I had a blast. It's actually a lot of fun. So I didn't, you think of 80s and you do think of that. It's fun, great music, going and seeing some of the artists that were amazing, modern English. Got to see Huey Lewis and the News. It was great, high energy, and then they have theme nights, so you can get as much into it as you want. I didn't really dress up too much, but I did prom night, and it was very funny because I never went to my own prom, so I got to relive with everybody on the boat, and it was my first cruise, so that was really magical with everybody. It was so much fun.
Well, we know you've had quite a successful career and you've had a lot of albums out. Does it ever bother you, I guess, to be known as 80s or as retro, as you mentioned? I mean, obviously, it's not something everyone can say that they've had the career you had.
Well, it doesn't bother me, no. I mean, I'm very proud to be a part of the 80s, and I still love singing I Think We're Alone Now and Could Have Been and All This Time and just kind of rocking old school, but it's nice to be 30 years later and still, creating and growing as a songwriter and
Sure.
producing now again music and still doing live stuff and still loving to do live stuff. I mean, I think the biggest compliment that I do get is, wow, you've gotten better. So, I really do get excited when I hear people say that, especially from a live performance aspect. I mean, I work a stage, it's not dull, it's not boring, I don't sit down. And so for me, I really like that personal touch with the audience. So if it's retro festivals, we're rocking electric guitars and again, my band's pretty high energy. And even now doing these intimate evening kind of things, we're still going to bring it. We're not kind of sit down kind of people that we're just going to be loungy. I do love the aspect of bringing it more personal and like it is in my living room. But if you've ever been to one of my house parties, they're never boring, put it that way.
So, yeah, you can definitely tell how much you've grown just listening to the albums. If you can, talk to us a bit about, like, how did you start singing for newer listeners that maybe aren't super familiar with, like, the mall tours and everything back then. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I started singing when I was 9, and, I mean, it just was something that I loved to do. And my parents really didn't take me serious at the time because I was just running around my room listening to records and singing and saying I want to be a singer. And then it was a neighbor, actually, of my parents that said, I think she really does sound good. I mean, and so my stepdad sat me down and said, is this something you really want to do? And he started testing me, taking me out into public. And, you know, he'd tell the local band, hey, you know, my daughter wants to sing. Could you give her, you know, get her to come up stage? I'll give you $50. And they were like, sure. And he really thought I would back out. But I didn't. I would jump up there, and I was a big ham, and I started learning more songs. So that became something my parents just pursued for me. Nobody in my family knew anything about the music industry, so it was word of mouth. You know, nothing really has changed. It's still kind of like that in the music industry, making connections and people. And, you know, by the time I was 14, I had recorded some demos and just pounding the pavement. And that's when a producer found me in Los Angeles, California, where I'm from. And he said, I don't know anything about country music, because I was singing mainly country music at that time, but I know everything about pop. And he sat me down and he played me, I think, Willow Now. And I really was kind of shocked. I didn't know if that was a direction for me because in my head, I loved country music, but I really wanted to get to more like Stevie Nicks kind of sound. And so I ended up recording the song, and, you know, that led to a record deal and touring the world, and it hasn't really stopped since. I mean, I've been very fortunate to take some time off. My son's 23, and I'm a, you know, wife, and I have 8 dogs, and there's a lot of madness in the Tiffany world. But, you know, as an artist, I've kept growing and kept, you know, just kind of trying to be a better entertainer, because music is my life. So it's again, great to still be doing it.
Yeah, it's incredible that you mentioned going from, you know, just singing around the house and people thinking maybe it's a fad to quickly be, you know, selling millions of albums and touring the world. And that must have been tough, I guess, just at that young age to kind of process all that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to really sit down and go, oh, it happened. You know, I mean, it's one thing to be dreaming about it as a kid in your room and talking about it with your friends, like, oh, this is going to happen. And it's another to really be on the road, going to different countries and experiencing different people, and everybody knows your song. I mean, there's nothing like it. It's quite an amazing feeling, and it still is to me. I mean, like, again, we just got back from England, and I went to Southeast Asia before that, and it still makes a big impression on me that my fans are growing up with me, and that we have so much actually more in common now, being moms and wives and you know, working jobs and just loving life and you know, again, writing songs that appeal to them now, still, you know, about heartbreak or failure or just having to readjust things because life threw you a curveball. You know, it's cool to sit down and talk about, you know, all the cool memories from before and where we're at now. I really do have that bond with my fans, and I'm very grateful.
So we got to ask, at what point did you realize that you were everyone's super mega crush? And how did you feel about it?
I did not know that. I would have dated more, you know. I was a little busy out on the road, but I had no clue, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that a lot of boys were pretty shy to come to the forefront and say they were Tiffany fans. But now I get all these stories of people that liked me and had their posters and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, really? Where were you? You know? So it's funny because I really bonded with my girls, and then I didn't really date too much when I was out on the road. It was, you know, it was a weird time. I was out on the road a lot, and then when I would come home, it was like the guys from my local high school and stuff like that just didn't really cut it for me, and they had, you know, saw me totally different then. It was like a celebrity thing. So I ended up dating one of the new kids on the block for a while, Jonathan Knight, and then, you know, it just fame kind of got in the way of that. I mean, they started touring and taking off and doing their own thing, and you know, it really was probably my first love, and then we kind of disbanded, and before I knew it, I was meeting a different guy, and got pregnant, and I always wanted children, so I was elated. That was like, yay! And my life has never changed.
Well, we know that you, as you mentioned, started out singing country songs and eventually moved back to Nashville, and you can really kind of tell how that it's affected your sound and I guess maybe your songwriting too. You kind of get back to your roots.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to celebrate that. Country is a part of me. I mean, I think, I moved to Nashville about 8 years ago, and I've been coming to Nashville since I was 10, so there really is a backstory. And I did a project called Rose Tattoo, and it was a country album about 5 years ago, and I did a little touring off of that, and that really is the backstory of Tiffany. Saying thank you to all of those people who gave me a start, even though I didn't get a record deal in country music. I had so much support from other people who let me get up and play with their bands, again, who told me to put a set list together, all the different things that you just don't know as a young performer. And I was only 9, 10, and 11 at that time. And so I really wanted to do something that celebrated all of those people. And I'm very grateful all those people are still in my life, and they've been my counsel and, all through the years. And it's kind of like, they celebrate with my success because they saw something in me and took a chance.
Well, and Tiffany, we know we've seen you in a lot of stuff as far as acting goes over the years, too. Is that something you ever thought you'd get into when you were doing the music thing, or did that just kind of happen all of a sudden?
Well, it's, actually when I got into the music industry and, by the time I was really looking for a kind of, I guess, a record deal, right before that I was 12 years old. And, my parents were told she's got to do everything. She's got to write, and she's got to act, and she's got to dance. And so they were, driving me from Norwalk, California, about 45 minutes every day, almost, to auditions and acting lessons and dance lessons and all the different things that you have to do in L.A. to, again, pound the pavement. So I did see it in my future because, I spent a lot of time studying that stuff, and I loved it. And I met a lot of, young actors who are very successful now, Soleil Moufray and Justin Bateman. And, so these are people that I did some acting with way back in the day on small little films or in acting class. And, it's always been there for me. So I'm a sci-fi geek. I love that stuff. And it really was awesome to do all the sci-fi stuff. And I hope to do some more. And then, take a turn and do some more, maybe some stuff with Lifetime and some serious acting. I just have to fit it all into the schedule. I do get some scripts, but it's just hard this year and last year and probably next year as we're booking dates already. You can go to tiffanytunes.com and check out all the dates that we're going to be doing live shows. But I mean, I'm pretty much booked until next summer. So, it's a nice place to be.
Yeah, that is excellent. I know the new album is just out, and you mentioned being on tour, and I know you got the clothing boutique, and you do a lot of charity work. You have 8 dogs in the family. I mean, I'm sure there's probably not a whole lot else to discuss, but do you have anything else maybe we missed? Or
I'm really, really excited. And again, I wanted to thank my fans for continually being there for me and, and new fans that I'm making through these live shows and through these interviews. People who go, Tiffany, I remember Tiffany, but what's she doing now? So I think that people come out to the shows and they become a fan again or a new fan if they really hadn't even, did the whole Tiffany madness before. So I'm really loving that. I'm really enjoying my life, and I'm grateful to, again, still be doing new music and getting out there and getting these songs to everybody.
Wonderful. Again, thanks so much, Tiffany. It's been great talking with you today.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, guys. Sorry about my cell service. It's really weird. I'm actually sitting outside just to get a clear interview with you guys. I don't know what's going on today. Maybe they're working around it, but usually my house is a safe place. But today, not so much. So thank you, guys.
It's all good. Thanks very much.
Awesome. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.